Welcome into Jets Game Day presented by Audi. I'm Caroline Hendershot, Eric Allen, Bart Scott, and the Jets are heading into Week 8 taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 3-4 coming off a thrilling Thursday night football matchup against the Steelers where they won 33-31. Let's set the table and get out of the tunnel for this matchup because it's going to be a good one. I can feel it. Now, Bart, the Bengals, they're coming off that crazy win against an interdivisional rival. Is this a trap game that the Jets could take advantage of?
I don't know if I would call it a trap game. This is a team that's trying to survive in the AFC North. But I believe that, Joe Flacco, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, he giveth and he taketh away. He's a guy that can be super hot and he can be super cold. You have to take advantages when he's cold. In Cleveland, he was let go because of the turnovers and the pick sixes. Now, I know he's throwing to better receivers, but the Jets defense has been playing better, and they know exactly where Joe Flacco is going to be in the pocket. He's not a guy, even though he had the RPO last week. I think he surprised himself and everybody, but he's a guy that you know exactly where he's going to be. And if the Jets can put some of the put the same performance that they put last week, which is going to be difficult because two of the best receivers in the league. But if they can do that, Joe Flacco will throw you one.
Mm-hmm. Now, EA, no doubt, not the start that the Jets had in mind, but there have been positive these last 2 weeks, in particular on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, this has been a dramatic turn. The Jets have given up 13 points each of the past 2 games. That's winning football. The tackling's been a lot better. The communication has improved. And you're talking about Jermaine Johnson. He's fortified that defensive line. We've seen them really gel up front. At the linebacker position, I think Jamie Sherwood played perhaps his best game in the National Football League last week. And then in the secondary, Brandon Stevens has really improved. And how about the play of rookies Malachi Moore and Kiko Mayanoa as well? The Jets are giving themselves a chance to win because what they are doing defensively. But as Bart said, you want to get a couple takeaways here against cool Joe Flacco. Make him uncomfortable in the pocket.
Yes, most definitely. All of the defensive side of the ball has been playing at an elite level thus far. Let's get into our top storylines presented by HCL Tech. EA, I'm going to start with you. What's your top storyline going into Week 8?
Yeah, Carolina Bart, the top storyline overall has to be Aaron Glenn wasn't ready to reveal his starting quarterback for this week's matchup with the Bengals. Either Justin Fields is going to get his 7th start or Tyrod Taylor will make his 2nd start. Overall, though, the Jets are in need of an offensive jump start after failing to get in the end zone in close losses to the Broncos and the Panthers. Fields overall has totaled 7 touchdowns, and he hasn't been intercepted. His 257 rush yards lead all quarterbacks in the National Football League, but he's been sacked 17 times the past 3 games. Tyrod, on the other hand, he replaced Fields in the second half against Carolina, and he got the team moving in the past game with quick decisions in the pocket, and he tacked down the field. You guys know it. Glenn is looking for any competitive advantage possible, and this is a prime example of it.
Bart, what's your top storyline?
For me, I go straight to the defensive coordinator. I go to Steve Wilks because you got to come up with a hell of a plan to slow this offense down with Joe Flacco throwing the ball in rhythm. He has one of the strongest arms in the game. The last thing an old man ever loses is punch, and he still has that 15-yard out where he can throw on the rope. He throws with anticipation. You got to get to him, but you can't be predictable. You can't just go in and say that we're going to go with this man-to-man. We're going to have to switch it up, mix up zone, match up zone, man, fire zones. You're going to have to keep them on their toes because if you get into a steady dose, this offense and those players and those receivers are too good to stop. So Steve Wilks, it's your turn.
Yeah, and we saw how dangerous Joe Flacco can be on that Thursday night matchup against the Steelers. When we return on Jets Game Day, we'll hear from head coach Aaron Glenn on the state of the quarterback position. Top Storylines is presented by the official digital transformation partner of the New York Jets, HCL Tech, supercharging progress. Jets Game Day is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information.
Who's your quarterback, AJ?
We will have a quarterback on Sunday. I would tell you that.
You're not going to announce who starters?
I wouldn't want to give them a competitive advantage when I have that opportunity, but we will have a quarterback.
So just, you know who your starting quarterback is going to be, you're just not announcing it. So it isn't like this week is a competition where you're going to have...
I know who the starting quarterback's going to be.
Okay, you're just not telling us.
Yeah.
What's your confidence level in Justin?
I have all the confidence in the world in Justin. I have all the confidence in the world in Tyrod. I have all the confidence in the world in Brady. He's a rookie and he still has to improve. as far as how we're doing things, but I have all the confidence in the world in those guys. And the reason why I have confidence, because I have confidence in the coaching staff also, be to help those guys navigate through what they're going through right now. But you know what? The conversation between me and Justin, me and Tyrod, and me and Brady is, man, we're trying to go win a game. That's where our conversation is going to be pointed towards. None of that stuff there. Because someone got to go play quarterback, and we got to go beat this team.
Pushing this conversational forward and getting maybe a little bit philosophical.
Yeah.
In your career in life, sometimes you get in these seasons where you're hit with adversity on every side.
Absolutely.
Trying to get that first win. How do you want your team to see how you respond to adversity when it's coming from multiple ways? And what will that do for them as men off the field and on the field trying to get that first win as well?
I think I've said this on a number of occasions. To me, I look at all of this as a challenge. And being able to work ourselves out of this hole that we've dug. And I think the number one thing that you have to do is you can't waver in these type of situations. You have to have a plan. You have to have a process that you believe in. And even though that message might come across different, it's really the same message day after day. I tell our guys that they can't get tired of repetitive content. And that repetitive content has to do everything about, like at this point, man, how do we dig out of this hole and be able to move forward? And today was more of, man, we're just focusing on what we do today, on our base package, how we're going to be able to strategically beat this team in their base package, and what the tactics we're using, all right, so that strategic plan can work. So to me, that's the one thing that I focus on, and I think it's just me. That's my personality. Look, I'm down for a challenge, and being in this city with everything that's going on, knowing there's a storm that's going on around us, man, I want to stay focused. I want our coaches to stay focused, and I want our players to stay focused on what's the task at hand.
You've talked about being through 0 and whatever, a couple of Detroit, New Orleans. I don't think very many guys in your room have been 0 and 7 or gone this deep. But I'm just kind of curious what the psychological element of that is for these guys, and you have to kind of talk them through some things, with that. When you are like, even yourself, you're waiting for your first NFL victory as head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's wearing,
Yeah, it's just in general, it's tough because everything's magnified, when you're in this position. And it's funny to me because you see some teams that are probably 5-2, and you see some horrendous mistakes that doesn't even get talked about. But when you're 0 and 7, every small thing gets talked about, and that's okay, and I understand that, and rightfully so. Listen, we put ourselves in this position, and we got to dig our ass out of it, and I understand that. Man, it is just how we go about it day to day, and I think the question that the young lady just asked before was critical because I stand up in front of those men every day, and they're looking at me and seeing how I react. And I want those guys to know, listen, I'm a big believer in them. I'm a big believer in what we're doing. I'm a big believer in myself. And we have to continue to just improve every day. I mean, the thing there was the defense, man, you guys were saying the defense was just horrible. And now they've got things going in the right direction. And now we have to do that to the offense. And we know that takes time, right? But, man, we have to have a sense of urgency to try to get that going.
When we return on Jets Game Day, Bart Scott breaks down the Cincinnati Bengals. Jets Game Day is presented by Audi. Visit your tri-state Audi dealer to get behind the wheel of yours today, or visit AudiOffers.com for more information. As we get closer to kickoff, let's get inside the numbers brought to you by the New York Lottery. Our first number is 18, as in the amount of wins the Jets have had against the Bengals all time in 29 contests, 2 of which were from postseason games that the Jets won, the first in the 1982 season and the latest in the 2009 season. Our next number is 71, as in Joe Flacco's career passer rating against the Jets in his career. Though his record is positive against his former team, Flacco's overall stats have been less than stellar. With 6 interceptions thrown, look for the secondary to capitalize on errant throws. Jets fans, your lucky numbers this week are 18, 29, 2, 71, and 6. All right, now it is time for a film breakdown presented by Moody's with the great Bart Scott. Bart, you're going to talk to us a little bit first about the Jets and what they did well this past week and what they can hopefully continue to do against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, it's about understanding that you're going to be dealing with a lot of 8-man boxes. Teams are going to come out with a concerted effort to try and stop the run. What's going to be imperative is that you're able to back them up with either taking shots or being able to throw the ball in rhythm and on timing. And I think Tyrod did a great job when he got in. And I think, Justin did a good job too early on, especially the first drive, and being super decisive because you got to get the ball out of your hands in this league right now. How everybody is playing you, they're playing not to give up the big play, and they're throwing the ball. So when we get to the film, you're going to look right here. The first guys gets to be able to get the tail motions if you're in zone or man. So you're going to get a little motion right here from Mason, and he's going to come across, and it's an indication. The sticks are right here, so you got about 5 to go. And it's just about, keeping the chains moving. Keep the chains moving. You're about 30 yards from the opportunity to get in field goal range or get in scoring position. Right here, immediately, the linebacker, because he was hugged up, came out too high. Mason's going to threaten him, get right here in the middle, sit in the void, and Tyrod is pitch and catch. Balls come out, catch it, turn up a little bit, get a little yak. And listen, that's a 5-yard route that got, almost 10 yards of yak. Mm-hmm. That's really what you're looking for when you come across, and especially there's a little bit of confusion because what happens is with the change of strength and motion, now that triggers calls. That triggers, from rip to Liz or whatever they're in. And then what happens is now it's always hard when this guy is up here and he has to go back because he's going to get back to fight. So you can get up to him before and cross in front of his face. And Mason does a great job in coming back down to the ball so that the defender can't come down and make a play on it. Right here, he's here, and he's on this line right here. But when he catches the ball, he's going to come here so that this defender can't come down and cut in front of him or make a play on the ball. That's the nuance of the position. As he comes down, he catches it. See, if I rewind it right here, he comes, and now he's on this line. Up here, he's on this line, but he comes back, and this guy's still on the flat line. Right. So this allows him to come, and now he's in recovery mode. Now you have an opportunity to get that yak yards.
What about this Bengals offense? Because they're being led by Joe Flacco, who, as you said to me earlier, he has seen everything on the other side of the ball.
When you look at it right here, Joe Flacco is a great indicator of any coverage is empty. So he's very comfortable in saying empty because now you have to show your cards. You can't disguise, and you have to show who has who. You have to walk out here. You know that somebody's going to take 3, and Joe Flacco understands that. He has all the answers he needs to the test. So Joe Flacco understands that he has it all protected. He has 5-on-4. This doesn't look like a blitz because you still have these guys sitting high. He knows that they aren't backed up. If this was a blitz, he would be here and he would be topping him because that would be an indication that he's going, which means that he's probably coming here to take him. So Joe Flacco, he gets all this information as the play comes out. It's just a rhythm throw. 1, 2, 3, ball. And listen, right here, this is open in the NFL. Like a lot of people may say, well, what if he comes, he's here. They basically have 5 guys coming. But Joe Flacco understands that if he gets the ball out fast, that it's going to be an opportunity for a big play. And he also throws it where he doesn't, get his wide receiver kind of jacked up from the defender coming from the other side.
All right, Bart Scott, thank you so much, as always, giving us a lot of knowledge. Well, don't go anywhere on Jets Game Day because when we return, we'll give our final thoughts before kickoff. This film breakdown is brought to you by Moody's, proud partner of the New York Jets. Get 100% verified tickets to every upcoming game at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Jets and the NFL.
Of course, everybody knows, I need to play better. We need to play better as a team. And of course, no matter how, the offense does as a unit, I'm going to get the blame. And I understand that. That's just what comes with the job. But honestly, it's what comes with it. So you can't let anything kind of affect your mind, my mind, and that's is what it is. No matter if it's him, no matter if it's family members, even teammates. Sometimes there's gonna be times where you have to be the only one who believes in yourself.
Trying to keep it normal. I told you guys last week, sticking true to my process, preparing mentally, physically, to be ready for whatever the opportunity at hand is.
What do you anticipate your role being on Sunday?
I have no anticipation for it. Like I said, my mind and my sole focus is being available and ready to be able to lead this team when called upon.
We've been in 5 one-score games so far this year, and on offense, we've had the chance 3 times to win the game at the end of the game, and unfortunately, we came up short in all those areas, in those 3 instances. So something that we've been focusing on is really finishing and getting the ability to finish in those situations by really honing our details and honing our craft, and studying diligently in the classroom, and I think we're making headway there. Okay, we're looking forward to this challenge this week with Cincinnati, and it's a good outfit over there. They run and they hit. They're fast, and it's gonna be a good challenge for us. But we look forward to it.
That was your locker room roundup presented by Dunkin'. The Jets run on Dunkin'. All right, gentlemen, it is time to make your case. Bart, I'm starting with you. In 5 games against the Jets in his career, Joe Flacco has thrown 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
There you go.
Will the Jets defense hold the Bengals under 24 points?
Was some of that in practice? I don't know, because he was a member of the Jets as well. You know, all joking aside, Joe Flacco has played well. His career is amazing, going from an MVP to a backup to a starter. But I don't think, like, Joe is showing you the inconsistency. He's showing you the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. That's why he's a member of the Cincinnati Bengals, because he would have inconsistency, and he has so much belief in his strong arm. Now, opportunities would be there to be made. I think this game is a game that's going to be a slow, drag-out game on the Jets' end, try and keep Joe Flacco and that explosive offense off the field, because this Cincinnati Bengals defense is going to allow you opportunities to kind of dink and dunk them down the field, and you have to take advantage of that. So I think that maybe, the Jets hold them to 21 and, maybe win by 24-21. I'm going to call a score.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
I like that prediction. We got a case made and a prediction. EA, a lot of youth on this Jets roster. What rookie has stood out to you in recent weeks?
They certainly all have. You're starting at Armand Membu, the number 7 overall pick out of Missouri. He's a keeper at right tackle. I love his physicality. He's a tough dude. Mason Taylor, he looks like a veteran tight end out there. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Kiko Manoa has really come on, playing next to Jamie Sherwood. We talked about Malachi Moore in the opening segment. He's got range, and also he plays with an edge. And a guy that we should watch out for here this week, A.Z. Thomas, a big cornerback out of Florida State. He's had limited reps so far, but he might be counted on to play a big role Sunday against the Bengals and those 2 stud receivers, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
I like that one. All right, let's wrap up this show with our final thoughts. Bart, I'm going to give you the floor first.
Well, listen, it's not the season that we anticipated, but, it's nothing worse than going into a bye off a loss. The vacation doesn't feel right. Spending time with the kids doesn't feel right. Nobody wants to go into that break having to think about that loss for 2 weeks. So I think the Jets will give everything they have, because you're going to have an opportunity to rest, so you can empty the tank, right? Guys that are injured or not or got things to worry about, I think you put it on the line because you have 2 weeks to heal up. So I think it's all hands on deck. You got to make sure that you come out with the victory, because nobody wants that sour taste on your mouth, because the pina coladas don't taste as good on the island if you got that L.
Yeah, we want to have some nice pina coladas on the island during the bye. For the Jets, they just got to get over the hump. We've been saying that for a while now, but defensively, the strides they've taken have really put the offense in position to win some ball games. So for the Jets, you're going to face adversity during the game. And at that moment, you have to take the reins, and as Aaron Glenn says, don't let go of the rope. The Cincinnati Bengals, yes, they won a shootout over the Pittsburgh Steelers, but this is a team the Jets can beat. They just have to put all 3 phases together, and maybe this is the week.
Alrighty, well, there you have it. That's what's in store for the Jets against the Cincinnati Bengals. Thanks, everybody, so much for tuning in to Jets Game Day presented by Audi. You'll see us in 2 weeks, not next week, because we'll return when the Jets get back from their bye. We'll see you then.